Hey guys, good morning. It's Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching in the live mentoring room. Let's go with a legal notice real quick. Important disclaimer and reminder for all traders and investors. The webinar is for educational purposes only and not a recommendation to buy or sell any particular financial instrument. Equities, futures, options, and currency trading have large potential rewards, but also large potential risks. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the futures and options markets. Absolutely do not trade with money you can't afford to lose. The website is neither a solicitation nor an offer to buy or sell equities, futures, or options. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed on this channel. Past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. Absolutely consult your registered financial advisor and your risk trading plan before ever investing or trading financial instrument. Okay, so my trading plan, first thing I'm going to start off with is my trading plan does not include shorting new all-time highs, right? I'm going to abstain from jumping in on the short side. That does not mean there's not a short available. So if we look at the 24-hour TPO, you can see that right here, okay, this is value area low, approximately, value area high, so 24.32 to 24.36 with the HVN coming in at 24.35. That's based on a 30-minute TPO. On 30-minute bars, right? That same chart, okay, so it's going to look a little bit different. It's on a 1 minute, so it's very granular. Let me make sure I got the settings correct. That is correct. Okay, so that same chart, right, has the HVN coming in at 24.34 3/4. The important thing to know about that is if we don't, and you can also see that's the same thing in the volume profile 24, and then the overnight HVN. Okay, so see how it's 24.34 3/4 because it's calculated differently. The volume point of control overnight is at 24.35. Excuse me. Yes, I know it's an invalid. 24.35 is the overnight volume point of control. The point behind all this is we've got to get above this point and hold, right? So see how over here on the 31st when we opened up and we opened just above the HVN. Let me draw this. So this is the HVN. See how we opened up just above yesterday and then we pushed up, right? You'll notice that when we pushed down to the downside the prior day that we got underneath. Well, you can't see it here because you don't know what the 24-hour HVN is. But before we push down here, okay, so from the prior, let me show you this here. Erase. I see what the problem is. There you go. When we pushed down on the 31st, right? You'll notice that we opened up and we got through the prior day's HVN. Let me format that real quick. That's correct too. Oh, it looks funny. You'll notice that we had to get underneath this HVN, right? Once we got underneath this HVN, here was the open gap. We didn't quite make it. We got into these single prints off the 24-hour. But the point of this is, in order to make it lower, we had to get below these HVNs. And so see how there was nothing underneath to help us once we got underneath here? This whole area was kind of devoid of any large volume build. This is on the RTH, the regular trading hours, right? So if we look from yesterday, right, this 24.25 is the first area we have any help. It's yesterday's HVN. We've got to hold above that, right? And we might even test a little bit below, but net, if we hold above that, my guess is that we will balance in the area. When we look at the end of the day, that we're going to end up either balancing like this or push above. If we get below and hold below 24.25, right, there's a long way to go before we get to this big chunk of volume here. This is minor support at 24.20, right? And then we have this big chunk of volume. Obviously, if we treat this as if this were an intraday 5-minute bar, right? What do bulls not want to see? Bulls don't want to see us trade below this 50-60 retrace, which puts us, so while this is a minor volume build, right? We have a low volume node right in front. We have a low volume node right behind. But we have the 5060 right here at 2421 to 241950, right? And you'll see that that reflects on the chart right here. It's also the 5060 from the prior day. And right below it, okay, so this 2421, 2419, and then this over here, we've been discussing this for the last couple of days, guys. This is the scene of the crime. This is the bar that broke us out. So anywhere from this 2421 to 2417, I am looking for negative 600 ticks that can't push. In other words, we get into this area. If we get into this area, we push down. We come back with another negative tick and we can't break the swing low, right? Either once or twice. Then we push back up, right? Or I'm looking for a push down. And as we push down the tick, right, I get a heavy push down here and I get clear tick divergence on the 5-minute for a roll back to the upside over here. That's the other thing that I'm looking for. One of these two setups in this area that would also give me approximately a 10-point roll down. Now, I'm looking for this setup can occur anywhere. It doesn't have to be on a 10-point downswing, but I'm very alert in this particular area for responsive buyers back up. I know that if I get below and hold below this area, that bulls will get a little nervous, right? They don't want to see that 5-minute bar penetrated below, right? And you can see that there's an example of that reverse. Remember, they're always thinking that this is the breakdown bar over here. See this over here on the left? Let me erase this. Ron, you have to make the call. I haven't had time to look at it. I can't call it right now. I'll look at it in a second. I apologize. So, and obviously that whatever it was, the moment's passed, right? So see this 50% bar here? Okay. Half this bar, this was the breakdown bar. Okay. See how so see this 50-60? See how we pushed up right into half of this bar, right? Attempted to reject, okay? Attempted to reject right here. Pushed above, backside tested into that 50-60. And once we were above the midpoint of the bar that was the scene of the crime, right? We consolidated above it, shorts trapped, and we pushed away. So I want to reiterate what I'm looking for today, okay? Let's get rid of that. There's two very important areas on the chart. This bar right here, I'm going to highlight it. That's the scene of the crime. That bar needs to hold for bulls to be in overall control. Okay? This area, this 21 to 19, is the 50-60 of this overall move. In general, not to the tick, but in general, bulls want to hold this area, right? And on the overnight, right, in terms of bull bearishness, we want to see that 2434. We've got to get above 2434, and I would expect that 2434 to 2435 and 36 area to provide a pause and a rejection at first. If it does not, if it blasts straight through there, I would expect the backside test to hold and a continuation higher. The other part before we open, I want to be clear, it's non-farm payrolls. So non-farm payrolls brings out OTF. That means we can get this move. So this move right here where we had this big downside move and reversal, but the open drive right over here. Okay, so you know what you're looking for and you can identify it clearly. This is OTF. Okay, this is a very large fund on the last day of the month saying liquidate X amount of dollars, or it's multiple large funds saying liquidate X amount of dollars, right? And then the reason you know it's OTF because as soon as they're done, we move into balance, and then we recovered the whole thing, right? Once this guy was done doing his business, it was all over with, right? Now, sometimes OTF can go all day long. That's the risk, right? So we have to have ways of finding out. And the ways we found out here, right, was that, first of all, on negative ticks lower, we were unable to push lower here. I've already reviewed this in the past trade review, right? And pushes down on heavy tick, particularly this bar right here, was unable to break the swing low and unable to close below the prior swing, the lowest closing bar on the heaviest negative tick. And that resulted in that short squeeze and what eventually launched the push to the upside. So my plan today is I'm going to give the first half hour away. I'm going to let them work through the first half hour of the day. Then I'm going to start hunting for negative 600 ticks, tick divergence. If we break IB high like we did yesterday, the first 50, 60 back for the push to the upside. And that's really my 10 cents. I'm not going to, again, I'm not going to fade that 34, 35, 36 area. It's a bad policy for me to short at new all-time highs, even if it works. It puts me in the wrong mindset for my own trade plan. But that is a reasonable place to expect a counter rotation out of the gate, right? So really, that's my 2 cents. A quick look at, let me insert tick real quick. We're about to get to the open. So again, evidence in this area, I think this is our highest odds from 21 to 17, highest odds location of finding a good counter rotation. And also, additionally, this volume point of control from Thursday is right here at 24, 24 and 3/4. And I would expect a counter rotation at that location as well. So area 1, area 2, and I think the highest odds for the day. If we get behind this, there's a problem. Okay, we should not get behind this today. That breakout should hold, and we should continue to either balance today. Friday's generally a balanced day, right? Or push to the upside. Give me just 1 second here. Insert symbol. So obviously there's potential open drive higher, in which case the zero tick is also in effect. Again, even with open drive higher, I will wait. We're well off of Globex high, right? And trend day up, we tend to open at Globex high and just keep going, right? So I already know there's a clue that we're not going to be in Globex high. Doesn't mean we can't drive to 24.37 in a quarter. It's just not traditional open drive higher. Generally, open drive higher, we trend up all night, we open at the high, and we go from there. We're not doing that in this particular case, right? Again, the first place I'm looking for potential long for me is this 24, 24 3/4, and I'm letting the first half hour go. I'll put up a chart of NQ so we have it. I didn't want that. And obviously we don't have gap fill or a half gap. I'm not interested in fading NQ. It broke out again. Eventually it'll fade, but it has not as of yet. And I'm just not in a rush in that particular area. Hold on 1 second here. And then let me do this. File. So anyways, I'll be very interested to see if we can push up into that 24.34. Let's see one other thing here. No big take on NYSE, by the way. And we're not above Thursday's high, by the way. As a matter of fact, we're gap back in. This whole Globex high has given up. So just be aware of that. Normally we would open above, backside test that, maybe to the gap fill, and then push. We're not doing that in this particular case. So just keep that in mind. Here's prior day's high on NQ, obviously. And here's the 50-60 back so far. I'll have that marked up. NQ's given a pretty good scare each day and a move back to the 50 retrace. That's the 50 retrace right now. And right back to the scene of the crime, by the way, on NQ. Really? Okay. And then Ron, we fell just shy of support at 46.64 to 46.44. That may be the ultimate destination. Nice. Good job. And then I was going to say the other end of that coin is right near the high, 48.01 to 48.15. That's the other side of that coin in terms of where the next resistance is. But we are clearly underneath. If you look on the daily, on CL, we are clearly underneath support. 1, 2, 3, break below, long liquidation. This is back to the scene of the crime from the breakdown. If we get above this, this is trapped back in about 48.01, and then we should push back in to this area right here, 48.69 to 48.86. Okay, so that's my quick analysis on it. Again, as I have more time, once I move the office, I'll have more and more time to do an accurate analysis on this. NQ pushing. By the way, there's no reason to be short NQ, by the way. There's just nothing in it that says short. I'm hoping it rolls down to give me a long side entry at some point. If I were trading it, that's what I'd be looking for. Same thing on ES. There's just no reason to stand and wait. But that being said, we're pushing right into that value area low from the overnight. Okay, this 24.32 and 3/4 is value area low. You see it rejected right out of there, right? 24.34, basically 24.35 is the HVN. Right? And then obviously 24.37 is the high. 24.37 3/4 is the overnight high. We've got to get below and hold below Thursday's high to be trapped back in, right? And then the most obvious, unfortunately on the day time frame, 24-hour, the most obvious location for a long is all the way back down at 24.12. I don't think we get there, obviously. So we'll let the tick guide us. And just so you know, I don't even have my trading domes open yet. I will not open them until 9 a.m. I'm just not going to get clocked first thing in the morning. And then I will start working harder on setting up scalp setups on CL. I just have not had a chance to do it yet. Notice we rejected right out of value area low, right? And we've now the next barrier, right? They're duking it out. Buyers are saying, no, we're going to hold Thursday's high. Sellers are going to say, hey, I'm coming in on value area low, right? One of those two groups is going to win that battle, okay? Tick is positive, but not overly so, right? And then obviously the trend is up, so buyers probably have the overall edge. That's why I'm hoping will pull down and give me some location down here for a long side trade. If y'all will give me a minute, I'll be right back. I'm going to pause the recording. I expect us to balance up here and consolidate the gains. That would be my overall expectation after the first hour. Oh, I didn't get the opening prints on there, but I'll do that right now. $24.30 is the opening print on ES. Okay, that's going to become a key area as well. And on NQ, it is $58.36. We're already below it there. I'd be very interested to see if a backside test gets rejected there. Again, we rejected value area low, right? We couldn't even make it into the overnight HVN. The next area of interest is 24.25-ish neighborhood, which puts us again into the volume point of control for yesterday. I agree with you, Ron. Again, half gap on NQ will come into play. And we are trapped below the opening print. And we are below yesterday's high on ES. Be interesting to see what they do with that 58.36 open on the backside test. On NQ. Ron, you've got a slight HVN just below 47.40. That's what's holding you up. If you see it on the 30-minute. That's why, if you can get underneath, really what you need is underneath 47.20 to roll. And then you have resistance sitting right now at 72 to 47.80, which is an LVN. So give me a second, guys. I will be right back. I'm going to pause the morning recording and we'll keep rolling here in a second.